Hi there, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today we have video 2 of week 2 of our background techniques mini-series, and this one is on watercolours. So if you missed the first video this week, do make sure you use the link below this video that will take you to the corresponding blog post, and that will have both videos on there for you. So for this video we're doing kind of a small background in many ways. So what I'm doing first of all here is creating like a little puddle of water. What this does is it contains your paint when you pop it down. So as you can see, the paint isn't flooding past my little puddle, and this is what I kind of call this card. In a way, I call it a puddle card. And I've done one end, I've done the pink, and then the other end the purple. Now you can see the purple's not spreading quite as much, so I'm just playing with it a bit more, and then I'm getting some more water. I didn't particularly clean the brush too much. I want still sort of purpley to go down there, and then I'm just moving it around to kind of blend it in with the pink, and then I'm just taking that wet purpley paint brush and splatting it across the rest of the card there. But then I decided when I looked at it there just wasn't quite enough pink for my taste, so I just added a little bit more of the pink. Then I was like, oh, now it's gone a bit further out than I wanted, because I really quite liked the way that the paint kind of gathered around the edge of my puddle. So I just was playing around with it really till I've kind of got it near where I wanted, and then I thought, well, it really needs some splats in the pink as well, so I decided to do that. Then as I was waiting, I realized that the water was just a little bit too much, so I tipped it to one end and then just used a paper towel and just took a little bit of the water off. I still wanted to leave some of it in that puddle, because it does, as you can see, when it dries it's moving around and it creates that great effect on there that you can see, where it's almost like a puddle within a puddle, and it looks really cool. Now this is a piece of watercolor card that is already pre-done at 5x7. Now I want it to be 5 across, but I wanted to make it a little bit shorter, so I've taken about 1/4 of an inch off the top, which means that it will sit with just a little bit of red showing from this card that I made that is 5x7, so it just has a little bit of red showing at the top and the bottom. I didn't want any of the matte and layering at the sides. I thought that would make it look a little bit different. So next I want to stamp my sentiment, and I've taken this great sentiment stamp set from Creative Expressions by Lisa Horton, and I've taken the hello and I'm centering it in that sort of second puddle, my puddle within my puddle, and I wanted it to sit within that, which is why I chose that one, not a longer sentiment, because I thought it just looked really cool. The way that had settled in that sort of 2 puddles had just looked really cool to me, and I thought it would be really nice to have that sentiment, sort of making it look like it was a deliberate thing. And this is the beauty of these kinds of backgrounds. You can do pretty much anything and it won't be wrong. Now I'm using my stamp platform and my VersaFine ink here, but you don't have to. I used it because it's watercolor card and I wanted to be sure it's absolute beautiful black ink sentiment, and so as you saw I did stamp it twice. It didn't really need it, but I just wanted it that really crisp dark black. So then I cut a piece of purple cardstock that complemented the purple that was on the front and put that on the inside of my card. It was light enough that somebody could write on it and it would see really well, but it also brought the 2 colours together that were on the front, and I just think that worked really, really well. You can see it's a really good complementary match to that 2 colours that we've done. But I still wanted to add a little something to the front of the card just to make it a bit more different. So I took this striped washi tape and I'm using the stripes to line it up, but if you're using something that hasn't got stripes, then I would recommend that you put this card background piece onto your mat that's got lines and make sure that it lines up nice and straight, because it would be very easy for it to go on wonky. And then I'm placing it on the front. It doesn't matter really the size of it, it doesn't have to be half, it's actually slightly more than half on the front, and that's fine. Then fold it over onto the back, stick the sort of flappy ends together. Again, you're going to cut those off, so it doesn't really matter, but leave those for the minute, and then do the same at the top. And then, as I said, once that's done, and you can just take your scissors and cut those little wings off all four corners there. And so you don't need to worry. That's the great thing, you don't need to worry about whether they sit nicely or not, because you're going to cut them off. And then just taking my tape pen, I think in hindsight, I think I should have used my red tape, because it is slightly distorted because it was watercoloured, and so it was slightly distorted, and I think it would have been better to use a stronger tape just to really flatten that out. But it looked fine. It actually settled over a few days and it was okay, but I just think it would have been easier to start with. And there it is stuck down, and you can see now that red washi tape looks really good, but I still felt it needed just one more thing, and that was just a little bit of bling. So I found some gorgeous sequins that were really good match for the reddy colour. I say reddy colour because it was a really sort of pinky red. It was a very unusual tone. It was really pretty, and I used the little splats of the watercolour paint as a position guide for putting on some of these little sequins, because it seemed perfect way of knowing a random position to put them. So I picked 3 out above my sentiment and then 1 just below. So I like to do it in odds. I always think it looks better, and I just pop those down using some cosmic shimmer glue, and then as soon as it dries completely clear. And then lastly, I found that great envelope that had a pattern inside that was pre-done, and that was actually an Anna Griffin envelope. You would have seen one, I think, in the other video as well, a different envelope insert, but the same principle. So it just made it, again, another extra element that was really fun. So that is it for this week. This is week 2 of our background techniques ideas mini series. I say ideas because, as I've said repeatedly, I'm sure you're getting sick of hearing it, but I've said a lot that it is just ideas. There are a million ways that you could do this, but I just thought it would be fun to show you a couple. So I hope you've enjoyed these 2 videos. Do come back for week 3 next time for more of our background techniques. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.
Standing in the street alone. Her head was down, face locked onto her phone. And I wished I'd had a number so I could be color unknown. And then I tell her to look into my eyes and never